is.
It like it really is, and it I noticed it even like later in the day.
Yeah.
So grateful that I prayed it because some mornings my sister will do it and I'll sleep in,
Mhm.
try to catch up on sleep, and those days I'm like a wreck. It's like I'm screaming at my kids. I have no patience, and I think it's because first, obviously, it's just the Holy Spirit at work, but I
Mhm.
think it's just the 20 minutes with God, that
Yeah,
so you have to fight so hard to get that time.
it's true. I do think it's a battle because I think with any kind of habit that you're trying to build or any kind
Yeah.
of like good thing you're trying to do for yourself, I think you do have to fight for it and make it a priority. And there's always a million excuses you can come up with. But I think when you really commit to something like this and you're starting off your day, like you were saying,
Yeah.
when you start off your day with that 20 minutes of like dedicated prayer and
Yes.
focus time and it's quiet, I think that really does set the tone for your day versus when you're like hitting the alarm, 7 times and
Yes.
rushing around to grab things and then you're just not in that peaceful state. So I think it really is.
Yeah.
Um, and towards the end, I was thinking to myself, I was like, gosh, we could just keep going. This is so peaceful. I could just sit here.
It takes to like the fourth mystery to like actually get into it. And it's exactly it. It's like then I could keep going. But
Yes.
but it for me it takes me a good 12 minutes.
You need to like warm up, right?
Yeah. Like the first mystery, I'm like, oh, I forgot to do this. I didn't get any sleep last night. They gonna go like the thoughts just are like still.
You have
Yeah,
to like settle, you have to like let yourself
yeah,
sort of settle and then you
yeah,
can get get
yeah,
into it.
yeah. So okay, so I have to ask you. So are you doing a lot of these virtual therapy sessions now, or like how are you?
Yeah, yeah. So since the shelter in place here in Chicago, which was like mid-March-ish, I just grabbed some books from my office and my computer, and now I have a little home office set up in my apartment, and everything is telehealth. So luckily, I'm so grateful that I have that option for my clients because then we're able to keep meeting. They're able to stay safe, and I think it's been a surprisingly easy adjustment. We just
Yeah,
sent them the link, kept their usual appointments, and most
right.
people have been able to stay. And I've actually had several people start therapy too, which I'm really grateful for that people are taking advantage of it as well. Because now you don't have a commute. You just, hop on your phone or your computer and then you're good
Right,
to go.
right.
So,
So, a lot of people did ask. One of the questions was how they can find a Catholic therapist.
yeah, I think the easiest way to do that is to go to a website that's called catholictherapist.com. That's
Okay.
the easiest place. It's I guess you could call it kind of like a database. And so a lot of Catholic therapists are listed on there. And you can go in and you can search by your zip code, which is really cool. And then they'll show you who's closest. And then you can just contact them and see more information there. So I'm listed on there. A lot of my colleagues in the area are, and then just through other organizations like the Catholic Psychotherapy Association. I think they might have a database. I'm not 100% sure, but I would check catholictherapist.com and then also maybe see if the Catholic Psychotherapy Association has any resources there.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. And then, okay, so these are some of the questions which I can relate to all of these. 'Cause I obviously with the COVID-19, I think mental health is
Yes.
more important than ever.
Yeah, I was just looking, I just got an email from, I think it was like the Pew Research Center, and they were saying that a third of all Americans have reported some kind of psychological distress right now. So I think everybody, in a different way, we're all having different experiences, but everybody's being affected by this.
Yes. Yes. Um, so one of the questions was, well, I also wanted to go back to your themes. You have a theme going right now, which it's so it so ties into with what we're doing. But you're this month of May, it's joy,
Yes.
and you're
Yes.
talking about joy this month. And then last month you were talking about hope.
Hmm. Yeah, it was so. I did back in December, because I do a newsletter, and so I'm doing a monthly newsletter, and so I just wanted to focus it more, and so I sat down and I wrote themes for each month, and I was thinking more of like springtime and rebirth and all of that, but yeah, joy just fits really well right now because, it's really about an attitude rather than an emotion, right? Like happiness is an emotion that we feel, but joy is that attitude of knowing that there's a bigger picture, that what we're going through right now is just part of a bigger plan. And that God is with us in these moments too. That there's joy to be found in these small moments. Like I'll give you two really quick examples. Last week, I was doing my laundry and I went down to switch it out, and there was just like the cutest little fluffy puppy that was out there, and he like ran up to me, and I got to pet him, and it was just one of those moments of joy, to be honest, where in the midst of being stuck at home and working from home and all of this, like just this little puppy. And then later that day, I had my windows open and I was working, and I could hear people singing happy birthday. So I think they had gone to stand in front of someone's house and they were singing them happy birthday and chatting. And it was just a beautiful moment.
Yeah.
And I think both of those are really good examples of these moments of joy that we can find in the midst of all of these difficulties that are going on.
Right. Like the time with your family. Right.
Yes.
Like getting
Yeah, family,
rest, right?
connecting with friends. I think that I was talking to another therapist friend of mine, and we were saying the challenge now for us is we've all had this opportunity to be with our families and to be really close and centered. And then once we kind of have the opportunity to go back to our normal schedules, our challenge is going to be embrace some of the slower time and
Right.
hold on to it, right? To just
Right.
not let it go and like jump
Yeah.
right back in, because I know that that's going to be
I
my tendency.
there's just so many like families now where the kids were older, right, in a way, and now they're all together
Yeah.
at home, and that probably hasn't happened in years. And
Yeah.
so there are some, it is a slower time, and there are some good
Yes.
things. um so here's one question. How do you have any advice for juggling all the challenges or the changes and still keep up with your work?
Mm. I think one of the biggest things that I found both helpful in my personal life and then my work with my clients is focusing on the idea that right now is different, so not better or worse than our life before or what's to come.
Right.
And so that means what comes with it is that the things that you do and accomplish in your way of living is just going to be completely different than
Okay.
what it used to be. And so comparing your level of, productivity or keeping up with things, it's just not going to look the same, right? So I think avoiding comparing yourself to your old self, because that's never helpful, right? Because then you're like,
Yes.
well, I don't know, I should be
Yes.
getting more done because I'm at home,
Yeah.
or like meetings. And like for you too, meetings are not going to happen in the same way, right? If you're
No.
doing like a video conference, you've got your
Right.
kids running around, or you've got interruptions, or technology issues and stuff. And so kind of just taking more of a like go with the flow approach,
Yeah.
rather than this like, oh, I have to like maintain the same level of productivity that's happening right now or meet these same goals. It's just a totally different, right? Not
Yeah.
better, not worse, just different.
I think it's like for me, and I think for other working mothers, it's more like a feeling of overwhelm. There's
Yeah.
just too much to do, and so
Yes.
you have to really compartmentalize and just like let the other stuff go, which is hard because you feel like, okay, either I'm like failing my child or I'm like failing at work.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
have to like flip
No,
the.
it's so hard to do. And I think, just, I mean, because that's so layered, right? Like there's expectations for yourself and that other people have of you, and work and personal life and all of that. And I think just, I mean, this is maybe easier said than done, but that idea of like, what's going to matter in like 20 years, or even like what's going to matter when I get to heaven, right? Like, and I think you're really great about, I think sending that message. I think you talk a lot about just like spending time with your kids and being present, and that matters more than, gourmet meals or something like that.
Exactly. Right,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
right. What I find that whenever I'm very, very stressed or very, very worried, it's the rosary helps, but also just go to the present moment. Like
Yes,
stop the thought.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think just like that grounding of like relationships matter and being
Yes.
like you were saying being present matters. I mean, because
Yes.
that's really like where we have that chance to
Right.
choose
Right.
how we're going to live our life is in that present moment. Like the
Right.
past is done, the future has not happened yet, but you in this moment, like you've got that opportunity to like hug your kid or answer that email or whatever it is that you need. You know, whatever is the best choice in that moment.
Right. 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 So another question was, who are some of your go-to saints for help with anxiety and depression?
Ooh, so many good ones. I really like Saint Therese of Lisieux,
Uh,
and there's a really great book about her. I can't remember the name, which is driving me nuts. I can see it.
is it like the self retreat?
It's not that one. This
No.
one is about her, more of like her psychological life. So they talk about how she struggled with scrupulosity and then
Yes.
her attachment style and all this stuff. So she's wonderful because, I mean, she's a doctor of the church, right? And she had all of these mental health struggles that she was able to persevere through. So I really like her. Saint Dymphna is another popular one. And I think her feast day is coming up soon, maybe even this week. I'd
Yeah.
have to double check that. So she's another good one. And also St. Rita, not because she necessarily struggled with any mental health issues, but she's the patron saint of the impossible. And so anytime I feel like I need extra prayers, I always say a novena to St. Rita. So,
I like that. Okay.
so
I
I
love
would
it.
say those are the three that come to mind.
I love it. I love it. And then suggestions for those who are feeling anxious,
hmm
worried.
Well, I mean, I think the rosary is great
It
because
does really
it
help.
really is when you're feeling anxious, your body is going into kind of that fight, flight, or freeze mode, right? Where it's sensing danger and so it's activating all of your danger responses in your body. So anything that is essentially mindfulness, right? But a Catholic approach to that, which is being in the present moment and focusing on something that's repeating, so the rosary, and then also your, you know, uniting yourself with God and the saints. So part of that larger picture. So
Mhm.
really, the rosary I think is a great example.
Yeah.
If you can't do that,
Yeah.
taking a couple deep breaths is always good, and then also. I think maybe two other just kind of like quick tips. You know, obviously, if you're really struggling with anxiety, I would recommend, you know, seeking a professional for help with this. But I think reaching out to someone in your support network is always good to talk things through. Or to, this is kind of my favorite, if you're feeling overwhelmed, to write down everything you're worried about.
Yeah.
And then a lot of times that
Yeah.
puts it into perspective or it gives you that sense of like, okay, I can problem solve, I can figure
Right.
this out. So making a list of either a to-do list or a worry list, I think is a great strategy.
Um, One thing that I started doing during the quarantine, I can only do it for 15, 20 minutes. It's the only time I have, but like exercise.
Yeah, oh
Really,
yeah,
if you
absolutely.
if you can even a walk, but if I can get the endorphins going, I'm so much happier.
Yeah,
Just
it's
finding the time
it's
to
a
do
mood
it.
booster.
It really is. It is.
Yeah.
But I'm not like a I try to walk is like my form of exercise. I'm not like a I
Like high
weight
intensity.
training.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But like I will turn on a YouTube video now with my kids
Yeah,
will do, but it helps so much.
it does. I think just getting your heart rate up and then also in that moment you're not focusing on what you're worrying about. You know, like you're moving your body so you're doing something. I think yes. And really, I mean 15 minutes does make a difference too, right? You
That,
just need
that
to like move.
yes. I remember like I thought Oprah said like you need to just raise your heart rate. And once your heart
Yeah.
rate raised it, I don't know. But
Yeah.
yeah,
I think
yeah,
that's true. It
yeah.
gets you out of whatever you're stuck in too, you know. I really love, I don't do it every morning, but I love just like going running in the morning because I think it is such a great way to just like I think as I'm running and I process and I get out there and I'm moving and I have a change of scenery and then I can come back and I feel like, okay, I did something, you know, and take
Yeah.
care of myself today.
So are you in the city? Like will you go run out in the city?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
So I go, yeah, I mean, it's not busy now.
yeah.
There's
No.
not a
Yeah.
lot of people out, and I go early enough that people aren't taking breaks from work and things like that.
Right, right, right.
But I think the lakefront is closed. I
Oh,
think right now. It was at least last month. I haven't actually gone and ran, so I'll just do more like the streets and things like that. But
yeah.
uh, yeah,
Like I wish I could like actually like get out and go. But the the quick prayers help too. Like
yes,
we talk a lot about that on here, but like Jesus, I trust in you. Somebody said, Mary, be a mother to me now. Those things have really helped me too in like
yeah. Well, I
overwhelm.
think those are great because they're like again those like grounding techniques where you're focusing on something else in your brain, and then when you pair that with something like a deep breath, you're activating all those calming mechanisms in your body too. So I think, yeah, I love those short phrases that mean something to you, right? Are great.
Yeah, it helps. Okay, so people are asking about your book.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, this is actually perfect timing for everybody because I think it's still going on. There's a sale on Amazon
Oh,
for
good.
the Kindle version. So like the ebook version, it's like yesterday when I checked, it was $2.51. So
No
normally it's
way.
14.95. So it's like
Oh my
this
goodness.
insane
Okay.
sale right now.
That's so
But
awesome.
yeah, I'm like, if you've been thinking about it, you should just buy it because $2.50 is like less than a cup of coffee from Starbucks.
Yes,
So,
yes. Oh my
but
gosh, so great.
basically, it's about self-care, but from a Catholic perspective. So a lot of times we neglect taking care of ourselves. I think for a lot of reasons, we don't think we deserve it. We think it's
Yeah.
selfish. We don't think we have the time. So my book goes through basically from a Catholic perspective why taking care of ourselves matters, and then how it's much deeper than what you typically think of when you hear self-care, which is like that it's going to get a manicure or pedicure.
Yeah.
Those things are fun
Yeah.
for sure, but self-care is more addressing your physical health, your mental health, your emotional health, your spiritual health, and your relational health. So I walk you through all of that, and then I help you put together an action plan for it so that you can actually do what you're learning in the book. And the book is called It's Okay to Start With You. So
Okay.
just
We'll
search
share
for
that.
that. Yeah.
We'll
If
get
you
share.
search for that in Amazon, you
It's
can
okay.
get it for $2.50, which is
That's
crazy.
awesome. That's so
Yeah.
great, guys. Woohoo.
Perfect timing, right?
So one thing I do want to share. So I used to be obsessed with the saints and their schedules. Like I wanted to know their schedules and routine. And this is never talked about. But like Mother Teresa, her sisters, I think she works longer hours, but they worked 7 8 hour days. Like they worked from like 9 to noon, and then they would go eat, and then they worked again from 1 to 3, and then they had tea from 3 to 4:30. Then they went back to work from like 5 to 7. And I think sometimes we think of saint living is just it's like working and giving
Yeah.
all the time,
Yeah.
but they took breaks.
That is so fascinating. I think I had heard that she prioritized that, but I didn't hear the actual schedule. That's
Yeah,
actually really cool. Yeah, because it's if you're not taking care of yourself, you can push through for so long, but
yeah,
then you reach a burnout point, right? Where then you're exhausted and you start to resent the people and the things in your life.
yeah.
And instead of when you like, it's such a simple example, but if you can make sure you eat lunch instead of skipping it, you're going to be a lot more present to the people in your life and your work than if you hadn't skipped lunch, right? So really, like, really simple example of self-care, but one of those, like, it's a discipline and it's taking the time to make sure that you're honestly the best version of yourself so you can go out and do what God has called you to do,
Yeah.
right? That you
Yeah.
don't want to be sort of like we're all God's instruments, and you don't want to
Yeah.
be the beat up paintbrush that's like missing some hairs and is all kind of like paint stained, right? You want to be like the nice paintbrush that kind of
I love it. I think
so
it's
yeah, so it helps you with all of addressing all of
mhm.
the different areas, and I see someone just confirmed that it is still on sale, so it's a great
Yeah.
deal. Yeah.
Yeah, $2.51. Okay, this is awesome. Okay, so I'm gonna I'll share the book, and you want me to link it to Amazon for them to get?
Yeah, because that's where the sale is, so I would go ahead and just do that. Yeah.
Okay, all right, so I'll do that. This was so nice. And is it okay for us to share it on YouTube?
Oh
Are
yeah,
you
go for it for sure.
okay?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, because
Yeah.
there's lots of helpful tips, and people like to be able to go back.
Yeah, of course. Of
Yeah.
course. Yeah. Happy to help in any way.
Yeah, this was so nice. Thank you.
Thanks so much for having me. It
Oh
was
my
good
gosh,
to chat
yes.
with you again.
Anytime. I hope you come back again.
Oh,
And I
please
hope next
invite
time.
me back anytime. And I have to tell you, Kristen, I have when you came to speak at Young Catholic Professionals, like that must have been
Oh,
like 2 years
so long
ago or something.
ago.
No, but
Yeah.
I have the rosary. You were giving out rosaries. This is the rosary because all
Oh,
my other ones fall apart because of the links, and
yeah.
this one does not because it's
That's
knotted.
so nice. Oh
So
my
I
gosh.
have the rosary.
Oh my gosh. I'm so glad you have it. Thank you. That's right. I remember that. I hope eventually we can all get back together.
I hope so too. I hope so too. It'll come. It'll come. But for now, at least we have this way of connecting, right?
Yeah, it was so good to see you too.
Thanks so much for
Yes, yes.
really
Okay.
appreciate it. Have a good rest of your day,
Okay,
okay?
you too.